Farmer humiliated by a group of socialites. They called her a farm girl, seated her far away, ignored her. But when she appeared on the cover of a financial magazine, the world met the true queen of avocados. And this time, the ladies of Springfield didn't know how to react. Welcome to the channel. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe so we can keep creating stories like this. The sun was just beginning to peek over the mountains of Oregon when Lucy Morgan was already up, walking the dirt paths of her ranch daybreak. Her calloused hands caressed the avocado leaves while she inspected each tree with the dedication of someone who knows the land like an old friend. At 35, Lucy had inherited the ranch from her grandfather Emmett, a man who taught her that true wealth was in what one could cultivate with their own hands. "Miss Lucy, the trucks are ready to load," shouted Tom, her trusted foreman for more than 10 years. "Thanks, Tom. Make sure they check the quality of each box carefully," she replied, adjusting the braid that held her long black hair. For the residents of Springfield, the nearest colonial town, Lucy was simply the rancher, a simple woman who sold avocados, mangoes, and other organic fruits at the local market. Her unpretentious clothing, worn jeans, cotton shirts, and work boots, contrasted dramatically with the elaborate outfits of the high society ladies who occasionally bought her products while wrinkling their noses with disdain. Springfield, with its cobblestone streets and colorful colonial facades, had become a magnet for wealthy foreign tourists and the American elite seeking to escape from New York City on weekends. Among these prestigious families, the Harringtons stood out, led by Mrs. Barbara Harrington, the self-proclaimed queen of local society. "Have you seen that poor ranch woman? The one who always wears the same clothes and those horrible mud-covered boots?" Barbara commented with laughter during one of her famous Sunday brunches in her mansion overlooking Springfield's historic church. "Of course, she's so rustic," responded Victoria Curtis, wife of an important politician. "It must be very sad to live like that, without knowing culture or the pleasures of civilized life." What these women ignored was that, while they spent fortunes on imported handbags and beauty treatments, Lucy had transformed the small family ranch into an agricultural empire that exported certified organic products to Europe, Asia, and across America. Her Hass avocados were sold in the most exclusive markets in New York, London, and Tokyo, and her sustainable farming technique had caught the attention of important agribusiness magazines. But Lucy never felt the need to show off. For her, success wasn't measured in social recognition, but in the quality of her products and the well-being of her workers, whom she treated like family. She had built schools for her employees' children and health clinics in nearby rural communities, all quietly, without seeking applause or photographs in magazines. "Lucy, you should take a break. You work too much," her best friend Sophia frequently told her. Sophia had been her friend since childhood and was the only person Lucy really trusted. Sophia had chosen a different path, marrying a successful architect and moving among Springfield's social circles. "Work is what keeps me alive, Sophie. I don't need anything more," Lucy always responded with a peaceful smile. Everything changed one October afternoon when Sophia unexpectedly arrived at the ranch with an invitation in hand. "You're coming with me and I won't take no for an answer," exclaimed Sophia, handing her an elegant envelope with gold lettering. "It's Barbara Harrington's annual charity ball. All of Springfield will be there, and the funds are for a good cause, restoring the historic library." Lucy examined the invitation skeptically. "You know I don't fit into that world, Sophie. Besides, I have a video conference with Japanese buyers that night. Please cancel that meeting. You've been working non-stop for years." "One night, Lucy. I'm begging you," Sophia insisted with pleading eyes. After hours of insistence, Lucy finally gave in, more out of affection for her friend than personal interest. What she didn't know was that this simple decision would trigger a series of events that would forever change her position in Springfield. The night of the ball, Lucy arrived at the Harrington mansion wearing a simple but elegant emerald green dress that Sophia had insisted on buying her. She had left her characteristic braid to wear her hair loose, and a discreet silver necklace that had belonged to her grandmother was her only accessory. "My God, is that the ranch woman?" Barbara whispered to her inner circle when she saw Lucy enter. "Who invited her to my event?" "She came with Sophia Lawson, the architect Lawson's wife," Victoria responded, scanning Lucy from head to toe. "At least she made an effort to look presentable, though that dress must be from past seasons." The disguised laughter and contemptuous looks followed Lucy throughout the hall. Despite her attempts to blend in, it was clear she wasn't welcome. Barbara didn't even approach to greet her, despite personally receiving each of the other guests as the hostess. During dinner, Lucy was relegated to a table in the farthest corner, alongside guests of lesser social importance. The conversations around her revolved around trips to Europe, new collections from famous designers, and high society scandals. "And what do you do, dear?" asked an older woman seated across from her condescendingly. "I work the land," Lucy responded simply. "Oh, how interesting," the woman replied with a forced smile, before quickly turning to continue her conversation with someone else. Sophia, trapped in conversations with acquaintances, could barely approach her friend. When she finally managed to reach her side, Lucy had already decided to leave. "I'm sorry, Sophie. This isn't my place," she said calmly, without showing the deep wound she felt from the treatment she received. "Lucy, please don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you run away," Sophia pleaded. But Lucy's decision was firm. She said goodbye with dignity and walked out the front door with her head held high, ignoring the whispers and stares that followed her. What Lucy didn't know as she left that party was that among the guests was Edward Wilson, a renowned economic journalist who had traveled from New York City to cover the event. While observing the interaction between the socialites and the ranch, "Woman," something in Lucy's dignity caught his professional attention. "Who is that woman?" he asked one of the waiters. "That's Miss Lucy, the owner of Daybreak Ranch," the young man responded, adding in a low voice, "My brother works for her. They say she's the best boss in the region." That simple response ignited Edward's curiosity. The next day, instead of returning to the capital, he decided to drive to Daybreak to meet this mysterious woman. What he discovered left him amazed. Far from being a simple ranch, Daybreak was a sophisticated operation with cutting-edge technology. For hydroponic cultivation, computerized drip irrigation systems, and huge greenhouses that produced organic fruits and vegetables year-round. More than 200 employees worked in exemplary conditions, with benefits uncommon in the American agricultural sector. Lucy, initially reluctant, agreed to give him a tour of the facilities, explaining her business philosophy while personally supervising the quality of an export destined for an important Japanese supermarket. "Do the ladies of Springfield know who you really are?" asked Edward, taking notes frantically. "I don't need them to know," Lucy responded with a serene smile. "My grandfather taught me that true value is in a job well done, not in recognition from others." 2 weeks later, the prestigious magazine American Entrepreneurs published its annual ranking of the country's 50 most influential entrepreneurs. On the cover appeared Lucy Morgan with her characteristic work boots and standing in front of one of her greenhouses. The headline read, "The Silent Queen of American Avocados, How Lucy Morgan Built an $800 million Empire from Anonymity." The article detailed how Lucy had revolutionized American organic agriculture, established one of the first fair trade systems with local small producers, and conquered demanding international markets. It also mentioned that she was the only woman in the top 15 of the ranking, and the only one who had built her fortune without external investors or significant initial capital. The news exploded like a bomb in Springfield. "It can't be true," exclaimed Barbara Harrington, dropping her porcelain teacup while reading the article during her Sunday brunch. "Lucy Morgan among the richest entrepreneurs in America. Our Lucy, the woman with the mud-filled boots?" It says here that her company, Daybreak Organics, controls 35% of certified organic avocado exports and has exclusive contracts with the most prestigious supermarket chains in the world, Victoria read, visibly pale. "And not only that," added another socialite, "it also says she has rejected million-dollar offers from American multinationals that wanted to buy her company, She's been invited to give lectures at Harvard and Stanford on sustainable agriculture. Panic seized the group. Suddenly, the woman they had humiliated turned out to be not only immensely rich, but also internationally respected for her business vision. Even worse, the article specifically mentioned the contrast between her professional success and her exclusion from local social circles, citing the recent snub at the Harringtons' charity ball. "This is an absolute disaster for our image," lamented Barbara. "We must fix it immediately." The social rescue operation began that same day. Barbara sent an exquisite gift basket to Daybreak with an apology note for the misunderstanding at her party. Victoria tried to contact Lucy to invite her to lunch at the exclusive country club. Another socialite even posted on Instagram an old photo from a community event where Lucy coincidentally appeared in the background with the text, "I've always admired the hard-working women of our community. Oregon Pride." All these attempts went unanswered. Lucy simply didn't answer calls or open the gifts. Her newly hired personal assistant, brought on after the article's publication to manage the flood of media requests, politely responded that Ms. Morgan was busy with important business matters. Meanwhile, Lucy's life was experiencing significant changes. Invitations for interviews on national and international programs, offers to write a book about her story, collaboration proposals from large companies. For the first time, she considered the possibility of using her newly discovered platform for something more than personal success. "What will you do with all this attention?" Sophia asked during one of her visits to the ranch. "The same thing I've always done, Sophie. Work the land and take care of my people," Lucy responded. "Although, perhaps now I can do something more for rural women in America." A week later, while Springfield was still in shock from the revelation, an even more shocking news arrived. Lucy Morgan had acquired 30% of the shares of Central Media Group, the most important media conglomerate in the central region of the country and, coincidentally, the main sponsor of most social events in Springfield, including Barbara Harrington's famous charity balls. "Do you understand what this means?" Victoria asked Barbara over the phone with a trembling voice. "Now she has power over the media coverage of all our events. She could ruin us socially if she wanted to." "She wouldn't," Barbara responded, though without conviction. "She doesn't seem to be that type of person." "And how do you know what type of person she is? None of us bothered to really get to know her." The silence that followed this observation weighed like lead. For the first time, Barbara Harrington felt something she hadn't experienced in decades: fear of losing her social position. To make matters worse, rumors arrived that Lucy was planning an important event at Daybreak. According to leaks, it would be a gala to launch a foundation dedicated to helping rural women entrepreneurs, with confirmed attendance from international celebrities, high-level politicians, and influential business people. The event threatened to completely eclipse Barbara's balls, consolidating Lucy as the new social force of the region. The anxiety among the socialites reached unbearable levels when, one morning, elegant envelopes with the Daybreak Organics logo began arriving at their homes. Inside, personalized invitations for the grand event, signed by Lucy Morgan. Barbara Harrington stared at hers for a long time. The invitation represented an impossible decision. Attending would mean publicly acknowledging her mistake and submitting to the new social order. Not attending would be suicide for her relevance in Springfield. The night of the big event at Daybreak Ranch, a caravan of luxury cars wound along the rural road leading to the property. Barbara Harrington, seated in the back of her Range Rover, nervously wrung her hands as her driver advanced along the torch-lit path. "I don't understand why I'm so nervous," she confessed to her husband, Richard Harrington, who remained unusually quiet. "It's just one more party." "No, Barbara, it's not just one more party," Richard responded seriously, "and you know that perfectly well." Upon reaching the main entrance of the ranch, the guests were left speechless. What they expected to find was a rustic version of their elegant events, but they faced something completely different. The ranch had been transformed into a magical space. The old barns now housed elegant halls with glass ceilings that allowed them to see the stars. The gardens were decorated with thousands of lights and native Oregon flowers. and a team of international chefs served dishes made exclusively with organic ingredients from the ranch. "It's impressive," Victoria murmured, observing national and international celebrities mixing with powerful business people and politicians. "Look over there," pointed another socialite. "It's the Japanese ambassador, and that woman talking to him is the director of the largest chain of organic supermarkets in Europe." Barbara tried to maintain her composure as she moved through the crowd, looking for the hostess. When she finally spotted Lucy, she was paralyzed. The ranch woman looked radiant in an elegant dress designed by one of America's emerging talents, but maintained her characteristic simplicity, hair in an elaborate braid adorned with wildflowers and no jewelry except her family silver necklace. "Mrs. Harrington, how wonderful that you could join us," greeted Lucy with a genuine smile, extending her hand. "The pleasure is mine, Lucy," responded Barbara, using her name for the first time as a show of respect. "You have a wonderful property." "Thank you. It has been the work of my entire life," Lucy responded before being called away by other important guests. As the night progressed, the socialites of Springfield observed, between fascination and terror, how Lucy moved naturally among ambassadors, CEOs, and celebrities. There was no trace of insecurity or resentment in her behavior. She seemed genuinely happy sharing her space and her story. Near midnight, Lucy climbed onto a small stage installed in the main garden and asked for everyone's attention. "Thank you for joining me on this special night," she began. "Many of you first knew me as the ranch woman, and I'm not ashamed of that title. I am and always will be a woman proud to work the land that my ancestors left me." Spontaneous applause interrupted her words. Barbara and her group exchanged uncomfortable looks. "Tonight marks the beginning of the Daybreak Seeds Foundation," Lucy continued, "an organization dedicated to empowering rural women in America with training, microcredit, and business mentoring. Because I am convinced that the future of our country depends on recognizing the value of those who, from silence and constancy, build true wealth." The speech continued with the announcement of an initial investment of $50 million for projects in rural communities, collaborations with universities for educational programs, and the creation of a certification seal for female rural products that would guarantee their presence in international markets. When Lucy finished, the ovation was deafening. Amid the applause, Barbara approached Victoria. "We have terribly underestimated her," she confessed, "not only for her economic success, but for her human quality." "What do you mean?" "That she could have destroyed us socially after how we treated her. She has the power to do it, but instead, she's using her platform to help other women." The event continued until dawn. When saying goodbye, each guest received a small artisanal wooden box containing avocado seeds and a card that read, "To plant your own future. With gratitude, Lucy Morgan." The following days brought significant changes to Springfield. The Daybreak Seeds Foundation opened its first office in the historic center of the city. Several indigenous women from nearby communities were hired and trained to manage it, breaking historic social barriers. To everyone's surprise, Lucy personally invited Barbara Harrington to be part of the foundation's advisory board. After several days of reflection, Barbara accepted. Their first meeting alone was tense but revealing. "Why me?" Barbara asked directly. "After how I treated you, how we deliberately excluded you." "Because you have something I need," Lucy responded with sincerity. "Decades of experience in social organization. You know everyone in Springfield and know how to mobilize them for charitable causes. That knowledge could help us expand the foundation's impact." "I don't understand. In your place, I would have used my new power for revenge." Lucy smiled calmly. "That's the difference between us, Barbara. I was never interested in power for power's sake. I just wanted to do the right thing with what life gave me." Gradually, the relationship between both women evolved from tense professional collaboration to genuine mutual respect. Barbara discovered in Lucy a formidable intelligence and business vision, while Lucy learned from Barbara's social experience to amplify the impact of her initiatives. A year after the famous event at Daybreak, the magazine that had revealed Lucy's Fortune published a special report titled Female Rural Revolution: How Lucy Morgan is Transforming the Lives of Women in Rural America. The main photograph showed Lucy alongside Barbara and a diverse group of rural women, all smiling, in front of a new avocado processing plant run exclusively by indigenous women. Springfield also changed. Social events, previously centered exclusively on ostentation and status, now incorporated elements of social responsibility. The same women who once despised Lucy now organized fairs to promote artisanal products from rural communities and mentoring programs for young female entrepreneurs. One afternoon, as Lucy toured her orchards as she did every day at dawn, she found Sophia waiting for her under an avocado tree. "Do you know what's most extraordinary about this whole story?" asked Sophia, hugging her friend. "What? That you never changed. You're still the same Lucy I've known since childhood. Authentic, hardworking, connected to the land." Lucy smiled, contemplating her ranch that now extended as far as the eye could see. "My grandfather used to say that true success isn't in accumulating fortune, but in staying true to oneself while helping others grow," reflected Lucy. "I think I finally understood what he meant." The sun was beginning to hide behind the Oregon mountains, bathing the avocado fields with a golden light. In the distance, one could see the modern buildings of the new agriculture school for women that Lucy had founded on ranch grounds. "Do you know what's the most valuable thing I've learned on this journey?" Lucy asked her friend as they walked. "Among the trees." "What?" "That dignity has no price, that honest work always bears fruit, and that respect can't be bought or imposed. It's earned with consistent actions." In the distance, a group of young indigenous women approached, students from the school, eager to learn the secrets of organic farming that had made Lucy Morgan famous, the woman who, without intending to, had changed not only the regional economy, but also the mentality of an entire community. "And most importantly," added Lucy with a serene smile, "is that time always shows the true value of those who plant with truth and harvest with dignity." Dear listeners, we hope that Lucy Morgan's story has inspired you to value the silent and constant work that truly transforms our communities. To continue this journey of stories that celebrate authenticity and the power of perseverance, we have prepared a special collection of equally captivating narratives about extraordinary women who defy expectations. Find it by clicking on the link to your left. If you were moved by Lucy's journey from anonymity to becoming an agent of change for her community, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Each week, we bring unique stories that explore dignity, honest work, and the second chances that life offers us. Do you know someone like Lucy in your community? Someone whose true value was initially ignored? Tell us in the comments. Your stories could inspire our next series. We'll see you tomorrow with more tales that will transform your perspective on success and true wealth.